Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown. I am going to be reacting to the Handmaid's Tale Season 5 trailer. Then I will do a slower, more detailed recap of what was in that teaser trailer. So thank you for coming, and I hope that you enjoy this.
I want her to know that it was me. The grieving wife. She knows the world is watching.
It makes me that much stronger.
If you Gilead, polite me back.
Makes me that much wiser.
She can't get to you, so you just gotta forget about her.
Oh, blessed be this day.
A handmaid killing her commander. Gilead is not gonna let that stand.
You wanna fight? Let's fight.
Thanks for making me a fighter.
Season was season 4, and June left us with quite a mess. If you have not watched this and you don't want any spoilers, then please back on out. Go find yourself some other place to watch season 4 if you like. But I am going to be talking specifically about the turmoil that was left at the very end of season 4. So it's basically spoilers from that last episode. If you are all up for that, or you already know all about it, whatever, that's what I'm going to be talking about before I start discussing the teaser trailer that I just watched. So June left us at the end of season 4 after she had, killed Fred Waterford, her long-term rapist, thanks to Gilead and their despicable regime and their despicable regulations. She had killed him, and when we left, we were in a position where we kind of knew that a lot of things are gonna happen, but we were questioning what is gonna happen. Is June going to leave? Because that's what it appeared. It appeared that she was going to leave, and we didn't know where. Is she gonna get punished? Is she gonna get real consequences for what she did? Is Serena gonna find out? And right at the very end of the season 4 finale episode, they did show an envelope being opened at Serena's prison cell. Yeah, we know the prison is like a really fancy schmancy hotel, but we'll call it a prison anyway, since that's what they're saying it is, an international prison. So she's in her cell, and they open up this envelope, and in the envelope is not only Fred Waterford's wedding ring, but there is also Fred Waterford's ring finger. So I think we can be pretty confident that Serena's gonna pretty much know that June did this. Now, there were some questions at first as to, is she really going to know that? She might think that it came from Gilead, because that's kind of symbolism that they might want to work with to instill fear in a person, or to make a statement or whatever. But through online shattering and interviews and things like that, we have definitely heard pretty unequivocally that Serena will know what has happened, and both Serena and June are probably going to want to go at it in whatever way that is. I don't think there's a lot else that I want to say about what happened in season 4, and I'm not going to talk about the rest of the seasons or episodes. That's pretty much where we stood when the teaser trailer is being presented for this coming season. Okay. All right. So in this image, this is the very beginning, and they're showing June as she is cleaning the blood off of her hands. Okay, so in the last episode of season 4, this is kind of where they left us before that image with the Fred Waterford's finger, is with June coming in to have some last moments with her baby, and then Luke walking in, seeing her covered in blood, like she was literally covered in blood and holding this baby. She did not even clean herself up. So really, this is what she should have done before she ever picked that baby up. But I get it. She's in a freaking state, and she had just done something really horrible, and she was definitely probably not thinking straight, and definitely not thinking, oh, I need to clean myself up before I go and pick up my baby. So at least now she's cleaning up her mess. Okay. All right. Now this appears to be Serena at a funeral. When I saw this, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Are you telling me she is in Gilead? So that's what it looks like to me. To me, I don't think they would be doing this funeral in Canada, where Serena is being held prisoner. So it looks to be, and frankly, look at the people on here. Let me see. So up there, to my right of Serena is Commander Lawrence, and to her to my left of Serena is Nick, and these two are basically leadership figures in Gilead, especially right now. So I highly doubt that they were all sent over to Canada to do this. I am assuming that that Gilead would have wanted Fred to be sent over there for all the symbolism and everything, and they would have done the funeral there. And then before this scene, I think you heard a voice saying that of a female saying that they feel they're being pulled back to Gilead. And at first when I heard that voice, I thought it was June. But after really listening to it, the first part kind of sounded June-y, like June's voice, but then that second part to me sounded like Serena's voice. And it was right after that this scene comes with her arriving in an airplane and then stepping off and going to this and being a part of this large procession in Fred's funeral. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to have Serena going back to Gilead. So yeah, Serena going back to Gilead. I mean, what is that going to look like? And it doesn't look like any of these people are upset with her. I think they are going to treat her as some sort of, like, the whole situation as Fred is a martyr. And it makes me a little sad, because I would really like to see Serena have real consequences for the horrific crap that she's done. and I'll talk a little bit more about her later, but at least this initial presentation of her being invited to this to his funeral in Gilead felt like she was being welcomed back with open arms. But you can only see so much in a teaser trailer, but that's the impression that I'm getting from this. Here we have Serena back in the international prison, and I would say, oh, well, that means that once she's done with this funeral, then Serena's back over there. But we don't always know, because their teaser trailers are not always done chronologically. Sometimes they are really all over the place. So this could have been at any point in time within the season. And the previous thing could have been at, probably pretty early in the season, but we don't know how early, and we don't know that these were one right after the other. But I am thinking most likely she will have to go back to Canada. But what is that going to look like? Like, what is really going to happen? I don't know that they're going to be able to hold her on anything after everything's been said and done. And I don't know how they're going to treat everything that happened with Fred and everything that happened at the end of season 4. I don't know. Okay, so when I saw this is Nick, okay, and June was talking about, those flashbacks and everything, and they were showing before this the image of her and Nick kissing, and then they show this, okay, but when I look at the video of this specific image, to me, that silhouette of the person that is in front, or that seems to be possibly talking to Nick, or Nick is observing, that person to me looks like, that silhouette to me looks more like a Serena silhouette than a June silhouette. And that could be because this is right around the time that she comes in for that funeral. So hey, it could be a flashback of him and June, but I'm not so sure. To me, that silhouette looks more Serena-esque. I'll just call it that, Serena-esque. So it is what it is. We can't win everything here. All right. So this is Luke and June. And to me, what they presented in this teaser trailer, to me, they look like they're okay, like they're together and they seem okay. And I did not expect that. To me, where they left off at the end of season 4, it really felt like they were in a bad place, and like things were gonna have to split. Like they were not going to work, and maybe that will still happen, but right now this to me looks like they're working together. The things that Luke says to her in the teaser sound like somebody who is still supporting her, that still cares about, they're not going to just stop caring about each other, but somebody who is still with her, like really with her, working with her, helping her out. And I don't know, maybe romantically they're not getting there, but it does look like there is a fair amount of support between the two of them. So we'll see when the show comes on how things are standing. But when she left at the end of season 4, I really thought she was going to back away from that whole relationship and go hide away somewhere. I thought she would take off somewhere. And people have said stuff about her, oh, she may leave Canada. I don't believe that's a viable option. Sure, she could take her urges to do everything to help break down Gilead. I think that they will stick more with the books and the future version, the Testaments, I think they will stick closer to that. And so I don't foresee June going back to Gilead. And frankly, if she went back to Gilead, if it was any kind of real life situation, she'd probably freaking be killed. I don't imagine she'd make it. But this is a Gilead situation and a Handmaid's Tale situation, and it's all pro June. You know, she has that character armor that doesn't allow her to get killed off. She might go through some tough, horrible stuff, but she does not get killed off. Anyway, I still don't think she's gonna go to Gilead, and Canada is huge. The bits of the United States, according to the show, that are still United States and are not being controlled by Gilead, is actually a very small portion of the United States. So she could try to go there and engage in some form of battle against Gilead or whatever. But I don't know. If you look at the maps and stuff and you look at what's been said, it appears that Gilead actually has a lot of control over the areas where people actually still live in the United States. And the pieces of the United States that seem to still be under the United States control or state control or some other control outside of Gilead seems to be very, very small. Parts of Texas, parts of Florida, and Chicago. And when they said, oh, well, Chicago, I'm like, Chicago is a city. It is a single city, one city in the entire state. Like, that is not a large portion of property. That is not a large strip of land. This is one city. And while Chicago sounds very monumental to us right now, I mean, you're talking about a dystopian future where the population is has massively gone down. You're talking about a country that was taken over and many people were killed or siphoned out of there or whatever. So you're not going to be talking about the massive Chicago that is today. You're going to be talking about a broken down, just barely framework of a Chicago that's barely holding anything together. So that's just, it's not realistic to me to say that, there's all these areas in the U.S. they could go. No, there's very little. And like even the Texas and Florida thing where it looks like a good chunk of them are separate from Gilead. It looks like they are like their own state rather than part of the USA. So that would be different too. Then it becomes kind of like the state is their own country, which Texas has wanted for a long time. And Florida is so different that maybe they are sort of their own country because they're so different than than the rest of the states. And I'm saying this as a Floridian. I have been here since summer of 2000, I think. So 22 years I've been here. There are definitely some things about Florida that I would say are very, very different from most of the other places that I have ever been, and I've been to many places. And Florida is its own little ecosystem of weirdness, and there are definitely some things about Florida that really leave a lot to be desired. And that exists in any state. There's always stuff within your state that leaves a bit to be desired, but there seems to be so much of it. It seems to be so heavy-handedly negative in so many areas. We make a great name for ourselves in that respect. And I joke around all the time when we hear news clippings and stuff from people in Florida. I do the whole Florida thing because, frankly, some of them are just so you can't flour this stuff up and sugarcoat it. Some of the news reports about the stuff that goes on in Florida, about the people coming from Florida, some of them just seem so stupid. Some of them come across as so stupid, and I don't know, maybe there's more to it, and maybe these are really intelligent people, but the headlines they get themselves into, that's where this whole Florida man this, and it's always some crazy, insane news report of what's going on with the Florida man. But yeah, I was surprised though that the imagery that they were showing, the presentation that they were showing in this teaser definitely looked like Luke and June seemed to be fairly well supporting each other. So, I don't know romantically what that looks like, but at least support-wise, he seems to be there for her. So that's good. Here we've got, I think this is being presented as Serena coming back from the funeral, and they have this lovely vigil for her. Praise be to the death of your creep ass husband. That's all I got to say about that. These people, they see what's going on in Gilead as something positive and wonderful, but they're really only seeing small margins of what's going on. I think there's so much that they are missing, that they really have no accurate understanding of what it is that they're praising and what it is that they're hoping for. But we know from our current situation that there are people on both sides, on both of the most extreme ends of pretty much anywhere that has two major parties that are at extreme polar opposites of each other, where the people that support those parties that are on the extreme ends are just very, very uber supportive, even when you think that, hey, this is really some evil, horrible stuff that they're promoting. And she definitely seems to be getting this support, and she was getting this kind of support before, when she got locked up. So I don't know. It feels just like here in America, like we don't have this real hope right now of getting things to a position to where most of the people are just Americans who want to, who want America to succeed. It's more like we have two Americas that want to tear each other apart and think that America should only be their way and no other way. And I'm sure there's a lot of other countries that are going through similar things. I mean, I've definitely heard plenty of stories from other nations that are experiencing similar situations with two divisive ends of political spectrums, where the people in the communities are just want their own version of what they see as right, and they want their country to be that version of right and nothing else. And it sucks. This definitely it just immediately chimed media hype, like the media is going to have a heyday projecting Serena as some sort of martyr. They're going to have a heyday. They're going to present what happened to Serena and Serena's family and Serena's life and her husband and all as this really horrible thing, without the reality, the depth of saying, hey, this guy was a freaking evil, horrible monster. And both of these people propped up and built Gilead. They had a major hand in propping up and building Gilead and making Gilead what it is today. Or in that situation, that today. So that's not what the media is going to do. The media is going to be like, oh, look at this, take these more like evil, horrible people and prop them up as somebody to strive to be like. And they take these other people that, when you're growing up and your mom tells you, how to be a good person and all of that. And that those people that we would think of as who mom and dad want us to be like, those are the ones that are getting demonized. Those are the ones that are getting made to look like they're something horrible and evil. And a lot of what's going on Handmaid's Tale, recent seasons definitely feels a lot like it is grabbing on to what is going on culturally in our own world. And I think I've heard chatter on some of the producers and character or cast members and writers interviews that is kind of what is happening, that they are pulling some from the culture. Like when they first started noticing it, it was more of a coincidence that the stuff that was going on in the culture so relevantly reflected what was happening in Handmaid's Tale to an extent. But as they started to notice that there were these parallels, they started to kind of pull in more on that and actually use that more intentionally. Okay, so Aunt Lydia, our favorite person to hate. Okay, so I imagine, because of the stuff that I've heard about how they are hoping to kind of start veering more towards Testament, that eventually they have to start presenting Aunt Lydia in more positive terms. But so far, we have not really gotten a lot of that. So far, even at the end of season 4, there might have been little signs here and there, but there's also signs that Lydia is cracking, that Lydia has not got it together, and that Lydia is not, like, she was already cruel, like really got off and on cruel and unusual punishment. But now, with her seemingly cracking, it's like she seems to really, she's always had this kind of her own personal way that she really seems to care about these handmaids and other people. But she also seems to be mentally cracking, at least at the end of season 4. And so we see a lot of not just cruel and unusual punishment, but her cracking to a point that it's causing her to hurt people that she wouldn't usually hurt, and hurt people in a way that even the Giladians are like, this is over the top, it's too much, it shouldn't be happening. And so, but when she is present in this scene, I wonder, because I'm kind of hoping that they're going to start soon, like really shifting her so that she is going more towards the Gilead is wrong and we need to start doing something about it. But I know that the stuff in Testaments takes place a long time in the future, so it may be a while, but I'm imagining they're gonna start to utilize more of that. And I wonder, even though she still is presented as that same crazy person who gets off on horrible stuff, things that we would think of as really awful, and she gets all excited about it. It could be that she is starting to turn, and maybe this is one of her, like getting excited about that. But it really does seem like her typical, I'm all excited about this horrible stuff. This is going to be a freaking wonderful day. we're gonna have such fun just breaking you down and destroying you. But who knows? You know, maybe Aunt Lydia's turning a new leaf. Maybe she's still just a zealot rejoicing in her horror. So this is right after Serena's face was all over the city. It looks like everyone's running. I don't know. You tell me. Do you think that in the teaser that it looks like in these scenes like everybody's running? Now, the one on this side is earlier and it looks like it's daytime, but he is still wearing the same clothes. And in this image, in the earlier daytime photo, they look like they're running. They are running, but it also looks like everybody else is running. So I don't know what's going on, but of course, you know, something dramatic and crazy. But then this one looks like it's nighttime. So how much later? I don't know, but it looks like he's wearing the same stuff. So I don't know what's going on, but something is making them run, and it looks like multiple people were running. And then when I saw this image, the authority figure that is grabbing him, at first I wasn't sure. I thought, well, is that a Galadian patch or is that a Canadian patch? But it actually looks to me like it is one of the U.S. patches. So this appears to be somebody from the U.S. authorities that is tackling him, okay? And what are we going to do with that? I don't know, but and like, why would they be tackling Luke? So my thought after looking at the full teaser is that maybe Luke is trying to help June, and they are actually going after June, but he's trying to keep them from doing it, so they have to tackle him and they have to get to him. But you know, I can't say for sure. It only shows so much. So this is what we've got. Okay, we got an upside down flag of America in Canada. Okay, so what is this symbolic image? You know, and I've heard of people presenting the flag upside down here. I wonder if it couldn't have come from this teaser, because I was seeing this well before that teaser was ever out. But maybe this is something where they're using stuff that's going on in culture and actually pulling it into the show. I have heard some advocates say that they're using the imagery of the upside down American flag, I think, to kind of present that America is not living up to its image as a free country, that America is engaging in actions, legal actions. We take away autonomy, that legally punish people for being who they are, for engaging in acts of freedom, for exercising what we typically take for granted as free American rights. Okay, and so it does feel lately like there's been a variety of laws, whether it's from the Supreme Court or whether it's from our governor or whether it's from legislators within the state or internationally, creating laws that take rights away from Americans. Rights that we take for granted. And some people will say, oh, well, these aren't really constitutional rights. But these are things that we have for years taken for granted as our constitutional rights, and now seem to be being attacked, and it's kind of frightening, like I say about a lot of things. But and some of it is stuff that is about certain minority groups. Conservatives seem to love, conservative authority figures in positions of power seem to love to attack certain minority groups. People of other races, people from other countries, people that are LGBTQ, all of those individual letters of that: lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, queer, and all of the other stuff that goes with it. They seem to love to attack each of those individual groups and treat them as if they are not human or lesser than human or not worthy of the same kind of rights and respect and treatment as other Americans. And it seems like there's been a lot of zeroing in on transgender people, but not just transgender people. We've got people fighting for laws that keep education from having anything to do with race. Under the name critical race theory. But critical race theory is not something that is typically taught in public schools in elementary and high school. But they're claiming that it is. And they're claiming that's what they're attacking. What are they really attacking? From where I sit, it looks like they're really attacking any teaching of history of other races. And then we have our governor, DeSantis, who I have no respect for whatsoever, who is creating laws that basically say that, if you teaching this particular thing is going to instill any kind of shame in the race and the wording, they specifically use the white race as an example. Okay? So they're like, if it makes them feel shame. So you're telling me that teaching about our racist history, which should be shameful, it is shameful. It shouldn't make you feel personally shameful that you somehow were part of this. But it should produce a little feeling of shame that our ancestors engaged in this behavior that was racist and resulted in a variety of horrible things happening. And it should make you feel a little bit of shame that those things that occurred because of that racist past are still influencing the realities that we live with today. They are still influencing the hearts and minds of people today. So to me, that should engage people in a little bit of shame. Like I said, though, it doesn't mean you should feel ashamed of yourself. I am sorry at the horrors that other people cause. I may not feel that I had anything to do with that, but it's not a shame in myself that I feel. It's a shame that this happened. It's a shame that this has occurred. It's a shame that other people have been treated horribly because of these things. So intentionally putting in a law that says that you cannot educate these kids on these specific things, wording the legislation to say that you cannot present educational material in a way that makes others feel shame, and then specifying shame against a white race, that's just, God, it's just something that bugs the crap out of me. Alright, so yeah, we've got this upside down flag, and who knows exactly what it means, because this appears to be in Canada. That is June and Moira, and I think one of the new characters, who all live in Canada, and I don't see that they're going to have any reason to be somewhere else. Canada is quite large. Escaping from Canada would mean going pretty far, unless you're going to go escape back to the war zone that is Gilead and what's left of America. I don't see that happening. But what could this mean in Handmaid's Tale terms? In this particular show, in this particular situation? They have the flag upside down. Okay, and we know that Fred was just killed. Apparently in this situation, June is still free and is with her friends. And most likely Serena's being upheld as some kind of martyr. So what does this mean? And is this symbolism that is on the side of people of like the handmaids who are against Gilead, or is this a symbol that's being used by the other side who think that Gilead is a good thing? I don't know. What do you think? This, I think, is after the big chase, and it shows bars. So, who's behind bars? Is it June behind bars, or is it Luke behind bars? I think it's June behind bars. But that, that image with the guy taking down Luke, that definitely makes me wonder. But if they tried to arrest Luke, what would they actually be arresting him for? I think they're arresting June. And if you look at this image, oh my God, look at this image. She looks just rough. She looks really rough, okay? There's no other way to put it. She looks rough, so I'm thinking she's the one behind bars. Luke looks, fairly cleaned up, and I mean, Luke doesn't seem to go through a lot of the turmoil that June goes through, even though some of what June goes through is self-inflicted in some ways, in many ways. But she tends to get into positions where before, when it was not her fault at all, where she was getting beaten up, and even when it is her fault, where she gets beaten and battered, and she does look pretty rough there. And it could be right after the whole incident with them killing Fred. But it did look like, if this is taking place after that chase, it looked like she was all cleaned up. She was in her nice, her nice Canadian gear, and they were together, and they seemed to be actually dressed fairly decent and cleaned up. And this looks like it was probably fairly soon after that. The nighttime, sure, but exactly what would have happened for her to look like that at that point? I don't know, but we know that sometimes June gets herself into some thick stuff, and anyway. There is this scene in the show where it shows this huge explosion, and then it shows all these sparks flying up in the air, and this person tumbling in the air after the explosion. And at the point of the explosion, when it first goes up and it's really bright and bold, for most of it, you can't tell that there's really a person in there. But right before the explosion happens, if you really take a look, there you can see that there's a person coming that way. And then it explodes, and it just looks like a huge freaking engulfing of flames, but that's all you see. And then right after the engulfing of flames is the sparks and this image of this person tumbling from being caught in the explosion. And I was so ecstatic to get this image where you can actually see the person. And there was one that was a split second, like really close to this, where you could see most of the inflamed golf ball of explosion, and you could see like a little bit of a person's legs, a leg and a foot, I think is what it was. But it wasn't that easy to tell that it was actually a person. And I was actually able to get this this image, and it, like, you can literally see the like bright engulfing flame from the explosion, and you can see the body of a real person there. Like, it's very clearly a person's body. So I was really ecstatic to get this image. Now, what is it from? I don't know, but gosh, like I said, they do tend to not keep these teasers and trailers in a good chronological order. That sometimes stuff is thrown around, and you don't know necessarily when it's occurring, whether it comes before or after. So while I think that this is probably, I'm thinking that it's either from the day that that they were being chased before they end up behind bars, or maybe somehow they're let go, or June gets let go, is not behind bars, and engages in something. We know stuff is going to get crazy, and this is showing this is going to get crazy. I wonder what's gonna happen. Really forgot that I had actually made a blow up of it so that you could see it in a little bit more detail. And I know that my visuals are not all good, but I thought I did a pretty good job at getting an image that otherwise was really hard to get and really hard to see. That, like, this is a very dark area. It's the middle of the night, and the explosion causes a lot of light and difficult to see. But this image is, like, to me, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear considering what it is, that it's this explosion that occurs in the middle of the night. I mean, this shimmery silhouette is really hard to see, but the imagery that's on the internet, a lot of the videos are not that great. A lot of them are dark and they're hard to see. So I was really, really glad to get an image that looks like this with such detail. I just think it's delightful. Okay, so, and this is another one that I'm going to show a blow up of. So I saw this and I was like, those are because I noticed right off that they were lying on the ground, that they looked like they were seriously injured or dying. But then, of course, I immediately noticed that that looks like Janine. Okay, and when I slowed everything down and tried to get more detailed images and lighten everything up so that I could see it, I was really trying to see if the other handmaid was Esther. It doesn't look like Esther, but you can't tell because she is so severely in the shadows that you can't really see. I'm going to go ahead and open up the blow up though. All right. So like I said, she's like really in the shadows. You cannot see it. It definitely doesn't look like any kind of blonde hair or anything like that. And I don't foresee them allowing the handmaids to dye their hair. To me, it doesn't look like it's likely to be Esther. But looks like on the video, when the video is playing, it looks like that girl is dying. It looks like she is in a puddle of blood. Okay, and I can't really get it cleared up enough and zoomed in enough to see that on this image, but that's what it looked like when I was watching the video. And I don't know, it could be that she is dying, that she's in a puddle of blood. It could be that it's shadows. It could be that she's severely injured. I don't know, but that is frightening. And then the other thing that I was looking at is that these are obviously two handmaids in Gilead. It looks like probably in the Rachel Center or wherever it is that 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 Lydia is working out of, but you do not see Aunt Lydia in that image, and that image, is panned clear across that room. That's a pretty large swath of space, and you don't see Aunt Lydia there. So I'm not thinking that it's something where she was, going crazy like she's been doing. But what exactly happened? So we know there's awful, horrible things that happen to the handmaids, and it could be anything. But then I was also thinking, what if these two, Janine and whoever this other handmaid is, what if they are working together, just like Janine and Esther were starting to do at the end of season 4? What if they're working together and this was like some plot to make it look a certain way, and so make it look like something bad happened and have this whole thing, where they're trying to do something. That's what I'm hoping, but I don't know. Like, the image really looks like this person is lying in a puddle of their own blood and dying. And Janine looks pretty bad off too. They're holding her as she is going down. So it could be really bad. But I like to hold out hope that just maybe, it's not as bad as it looks. Maybe there is some kind of plot afoot, and Janine and somebody else are coming up with something, and the idea that it might not be Esther is kind of okay with me. I'm thinking that in the situation they were in, that it would probably start to look fairly obvious, and even if the other aunts are not picking up on it, I think Aunt Lydia probably would have started to pick up on it. And let me shrink that. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so maybe somebody noticed something was going on and they separated Esther and Janine. Maybe just Aunt Lydia noticed something was going on and didn't want anyone else picking up on it. Maybe it was something else. I mean, the handmaids frequently get treated terribly and don't have any real control over what's being done to them. So it could frankly be just about anything. But those are some of the things I was thinking about. Yes. But either way, was that somebody dying there? Was that a plot made to look like somebody was dying or severely hurt? Was somebody just getting severely hurt, but there was no plot? I don't know. You never know what kind of horrific stuff is going to happen in the Handmaid's Tale. All right, and this is, I think, the last set of images that I have from the very end of the trailer, the teaser. And you got Luke and June coming up, and they're in different attire than they were when they got caught earlier and ended up behind bars. Okay, so June was in a white coat, now she's in a brown coat. And Luke was in a brown kind of jacket that would be appropriate to wear with a suit, but now he's in this nice little Michelin Man cushiony jacket. And then they see Serena getting out with, I assume, her bodyguard or whoever is protecting her at the time. And then it shows June reaching behind her back to grab a gun. And I don't think for a second that Serena's any real danger of being shot by June. June doesn't have the greatest record of getting her hands on a gun and actually using it and using it properly. She could have freaking training by now. She could have practice by now where she's better, but it wouldn't go along with the story, I don't think, very well, because I think they want Serena and June to really like head off against each other for a while. I think they want that to be part of the consequences of everything that happened. I just wish, I do wish that Serena would get some real consequences, because she's the freaking mastermind behind this entire freaking regime. She's the one that created it. You know, every once in a while I like to have some emotions and feelings and feel a little bit of empathy and feel a little bit sorry for Serena. But when it comes down to it, she is the one that built this system. She's dealing with some of the hardships that she's experiencing based on a system she made to be that way, to be exactly the way it is that is oppressing her. What do you do with that? Yeah. But hey, that's what Handmaid's Tale is for us to be presented all these ideas and try to figure out, you know, what might you do with that? What might you do with that? And if you're like June and you've got all these this freaking great body armor or character armor, then you know, you might get hurt or whatever, but you're never gonna die. And then Serena seems to have pretty good freaking character armor too. She's the bad guy that never faces enough consequence. And the only consequences that she's really faced were not for the horrific things she's done. They were for the things that were against Galadian rules, or against the American rules and laws. So she's still not being punished or disciplined for the horrific stuff she's done. She's only being punished and disciplined for those things that are against the law, which of course many people go through. You know, there's people all over the world that do really horrific stuff, and some of it frankly isn't illegal, or it's not enforced, or for whatever reason they're not going to get caught, or there's just not a system in place that would really lock them up or hold them accountable for what they did. But then there's other things that are illegal that you can be held accountable for that we don't think of as bad. Some things where we actually think of them as good, that we think that we should have a right to do these things, that we think that they should be legal and they should be allowed, but they're not. But they're not legal, and people get locked up for them, and sometimes a long time. So anyway, look, I have this Handmaid's Tale thing that I made. Okay, so I don't know, I thought about putting this at the bottom of the image the whole time, but I didn't feel like doing that. I felt like, so this is actually an image that I took when I was in Washington DC with my kids when they were very young. My kids are 17 and 20 now, but they were very, very little and very young when this was taken. And I did trim myself out of it, so I was in that bottom part, the bottom part where you see all the concrete blocks or whatever, up on some steps along with my kids. But we took this image, and I thought that it kind of went along with the Handmaid's Tale image from one of the other seasons where they were in DC. I did not try to put the cross above the top of her, because I really didn't feel like it. I just put the Handmaid's Tale, and the Handmaid's Tale font is just basic font that is on Picasa. This image over the top of the video, and just have it so that you can see through it a little bit and see the video that's playing underneath without it being like completely obvious and crystal clear what's going on. I mean, if you want to watch the teaser, it is available for free on YouTube and on a variety of other channels in high definition if you want it. So you can watch it for free on the internet. That's your choice. Thank you for watching this teaser trailer with me. I am very much looking forward to Handmaid's Tale Season 5. And I know some people do not like Handmaid's Tale. I know for some people it is too hard to watch, or it is too dark, or it's just about topics that you don't want to talk about or watch or observe. But for me, I really enjoy it. I like watching some of the high trauma stuff, some of this dystopian, horrific stuff. But I know some people don't, and that's fine. But I do find that even me, who likes this traumatic stuff, who likes these dystopian shows, I do find it hard to watch. It is very dark. It is very difficult to watch. It's very emotional sometimes. And so one of the things that I have done to try to deal with that is, between each episode, I go on to reaction and recap videos, much like this, to try to see what other people are saying, to get other viewpoints, to kind of have a little bit of a buffer there between episodes where I can cool off, calm down, think more deeply about what's going on, but at a more of a distance, and see what other people are saying. Different people take things from different perspectives. They see different things. They notice different things, and they miss different things. And when people start talking together, you get this whole gamut of other ideas and perspectives that you don't necessarily get when you talk by yourself, which I know I'm talking by myself, but some of the videos that I watch are multiple people talking about it together, and I like that. I also like going into the comment sections and seeing what people have to say in the comment sections, and I don't agree with everybody, but I do like to get all those multiple perspectives and look at it in a deeper way. I also like to watch these episodes multiple times so that I can see what I missed, so that I can pick up on things that maybe I didn't get before, or that I can look more closely at something that I did get before and, try to figure it out better or figure it out more. There's all kinds of reasons, but this to me is kind of cathartic, to be able to do these reaction videos, but also to be able to look at other people's reaction videos and other people's recaps and other people's discussions, and be able to just get more out of it, and to have that little buffer between episodes so that I can calm down, think about it from a distance, and get a little more out of it without it being so gut-wrenching. Because I tell you, when you freaking you binge this stuff one episode after another, and it's one really heavy episode after another, that can be very, very hard. And so I have really enjoyed. It's probably been since season 3, I think, that I started really picking up on this fact that I could watch reaction videos in between the episodes instead of binging everything one episode after the other. And that has really helped me to get through. Anyway, look forward to seeing you when Handmaid's Tale starts. I think it's mid-August, okay? And in the meantime, I will continue to do Dairy Girls reactions. I just started season 2, okay? I don't think I even have access to season 3 yet. I also do streams. Okay, they're every Friday, but they are on my Facebook account. I may start switching to using my YouTube account as long as I'm not on my phone. Okay, so mid-September, Handmaid's Tale. I will be doing reflections and reaction recap videos on Handmaid's Tale season 5. Mid-August, less than 2 weeks from now, I do plan on doing reaction videos to House of the Dragon. Very first episode, their spin-off that came about because everybody wanted more Game of Thrones. And it's not Game of Thrones, but it is the same realm, just a different point in history. And I have read the book that goes along with it. I have heard that it should be a little bit different, but it should still follow somewhat the book that it goes along with. So I am looking forward to this. I am so looking forward to this. I really enjoyed Game of Thrones. That was one of those things that I just had to watch all the time, every time. Really got a lot out of it. But that's it. Y'all, I will see you later. Come and join me when you want to. Stay away from me when you don't want to. That's fine. Bye.